សូមអនុមោទនាសូមអនុមោទនាសូមអនុមោទនាការនិមន្តមកដល់របស់ព្រះធម្មកថាណា yeah careful ណាញាតិញោមជើញខិតមកមុខតិចមកហ្នឹងឯងដែលខាងក្រោយហ្នឹងជើញអង្គុយស្ដាប់ពធទេសនាទាំងអស់គ្នាបង So like to invite everybody to come forward and sit down in proper place to listen to the Dhamma. Venerable Master will be giving the Dhamma talk in the next moment. And before that as well, in Cambodian traditional way, whenever there is invitation to the monk for the Dhamma talk, we always have our traditional chanting as a way to request the Dhamma talk, remembering the Maha Brahma who came down to the earth and inviting the Buddha to request the Buddha for the Dhamma talk. And with that, in our Cambodian tradition, we always have a chanting in our own traditional way to invite the monk for the Dhamma talk. So with this, I like to ask our Cambodian well-known Dhamma chanter to start their chanting as to invite the most venerable Master Kevili to give a Dhamma talk. I'd like to invite Dr. Wang Mo and Nelson. Please come forward to light the candle. ហុចទៀនជូនហុចទៀនគាត់ផងហុចទៀននៅខាងនេះញាតិញោមខាងស្មូតឲ្យលឿនតិចមកបងទៀននៅនេះឡើងមកអុចមកកាន់ទៀនជូនគាត់បងចេញកាន់ទៀនហុចទៅ Dr. Wang Mo and Nelson and family. Yeah, your wife as well. Please come forward and light the candle. Okay. Yeah, so you can light with your wife. Yeah, light the candle. This is the light of Dhamma, right? The life of Buddha Dhamma under the shade of sacred Bodhi tree. អនុមោទនាសូមអនុមោទនា Oh, maybe need some more light. Dr. Wang Mo needs some more light to shine. សូមអនុមោទនាសាធុសូមអនុមោទនាបន់សាធុសូមអនុមោទនាមហាកុសលសាធុ So just to inform that today's Dhamma talk also will be translated into Cambodian version for the sake of many of our lay devotees here. So maybe I'm gonna translate paragraph by paragraph as Venerable start talking. I will try my best to translate.
So no need for me to talk in Thai anything.
Just English. Yes. Okay. And here we also have our Venerable President from the Cambodian Buddhist Monk Society in USA joining to listen the Dhamma talk tonight. Dr. Wang Mo, yeah, you have anything, please?
A very warm welcome to all of you this evening for our first Dhamma talk under the Bodhi tree, under the sacred Bodhi tree. And before we hear the blessed chanting by the Cambodian traditional blessing prayer, I would like to introduce our Dhamma speaker this evening. It is with great pleasure that our first Dhamma speaker is known as Venerable Ajahn Kewali, Bhavana Vajrajan, who was born in December 1968 in Karlsruhe, Germany. Having lived in Bangkok, Thailand as a boy for 2 years, he felt a strong affinity to Thai culture, which eventually led him to Buddhism and the teachings of Venerable Ajahn Chah, the late abbot of Wat Nong Pa Pong in Ubon Ratchathani. After moving to Berlin to study mathematics and physics, for becoming a high school teacher, he left Germany to practice meditation at Wat Pa Nanachat, the international forest monastery established by Venerable Ajahn Chah in close proximity to Wat Nong Pa Pong. Joining the Sangha in 1997 as a novice, he became a monk the year after with Venerable Ajahn Liam, the present abbot of Wat Nong Pa Pong, as his preceptor. For his training as a junior monk, Ajahn Kewali was based in Wat Pa Nanachat under the guidance of Venerable Ajahn Jayasaro, with intervals of practice in other Thai forest monasteries. Ajahn Kewali passed the traditional Thai monastic Dhamma exams in 2002. Afterwards, he moved to Wat Nong Pa Pong to practice directly under his preceptor, whom he was fortunate to serve as a monastic attendant and translator throughout his stay and on various journeys to the West. In 2007, he was asked by Venerable Ajahn Liam and Venerable Ajahn Jayasaro to become the abbot of Wat Pa Nanachat, in which he keeps offering the traditional training of a forest monk in the Ajahn Chah lineage until today. Being authorized by the Thai Sangha administration to perform ordination since 2017, he undertook the construction of a traditional ordination hall in Wat Pa Nanachat, which was inaugurated in December 2022, with Venerable Somdet Pra Maharijan, Venerable Ajahn Somedo, and many of the elders of the Thai Forest Sangha, giving their blessings, and Her Majesty King and Queen of Thailand presiding over the ceremony. On December 28, 2022, His Royal Majesty King Rama X granted Ajahn Kewali the honorary monastic title of Chakun Pra Bhavana Vajrajan. After establishing a new ordination hall in a monastery, it is the tradition for the abbot to spend the following rains retreat outside his monastery. Thus, Ajahn Kewali is joining the 18th International Tipitaka Chanting Ceremony, coming from his rains retreat at Aruna Ratnagiri Monastery in the UK, intending to be back at Wat Pa Nanachat for 2024. He was able to participate in the International Tipitaka chanting ceremony in 2016, translating for Venerable Ajahn Anik, a senior Thai disciple of Venerable Ajahn Chah. And in 2019, together with Venerable Ajahn Amaro from Amravati Buddhist Monastery in the UK, giving a Dhamma talk under the sacred Bodhi tree. Ajahn Kewali also serves as the spiritual patron of the Ariana Vihara Trust in Delhi, which is currently developing a forest monastery in the Haryana province in India. Thank you.
Nè, sum Chamran Po, nhiệt nhôm tất cảគ្នាបាញ់ Dr. Wang Mo បានរៀបរាប់អំពីប្រវត្តិត្រុសថ្មសង្ខេបដើម្បីពេលវេលាយើងខ្លីចឹងព្រះគ្រូអាចារ្យកេវលីគឺជាប្រសង់ជនជាតិអាល្លឺម៉ង់ដែលលោកបានបួសរៀននៅប្រទេសថៃហើយបដិបត្តិតាមប្រពៃណីរបស់អាចារ្យឆាដែលជាគ្រូសមាធិដ៏ល្បីមួយអង្គនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកហើយព្រះគ្រូអាចារ្យកេវលីលោកក៏មានបទពិសោធន៍ក្នុងការបដិបត្តិក៏ដូចជាបង្ហាត់បង្រៀននៅសមាធិវិបស្សនាអស់រយៈកាលជាច្រើនឆ្នាំផងដែរហើយលោកក៏បានចូលរួមកម្មវិធីសូត្របត្រៃបេដកនេះគឺតាំងពីឆ្នាំ2016រហូតមកដល់ពេលនេះហើយក៏នៅតែបន្តចូលរួមនឹងបានមកសម្ដែងពធទេសនាជារឿយៗអញ្ចឹងសូមត្រេកអរបង្អោនចិត្តដើម្បីរតនាលោកសម្ដែងពធទេសនាដូចតទៅសូមអនុមោទនារមេចលោកាធិបង្តីសង្ហំបតីកតញ្ជាលីអន្តិវរੰអង្យាចង្ថੰសន្តិធំសត្តាបង្រជៈខង្ជាតិកាទេសេតុងធម្មੰអនុកម្មពេងម៉ាំងបញ្ជាំងសត្វធម្មំភេរិងវិនយញ្ចង្កាយ៉ាងសតតញ្ចង្ពៀនធាំងអភិធម្មមគ្គចាំម៉ាំងអាកោដាក់យន្តោចង្តុសាច់ចង្ទៀនដាំងបពោធំនៃយេបរិសាយ៉ាងម៉ាច់ឆេ
ព្រះសធម្មជាស្គរជ័យព្រះវិន័យជារៀងធ ជាស្បែកដាំងព្រះធម៌ជាសូសែងរៀងឡើងចាញចាំងរៀងសីបំភ្លឺលោកទាំងបីឲ្យយល់ផ្លូវឋានសុខខាសັບសាធុការជ្រះថ្លាអនុមោទនី
นะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะนะโมตัสสะภะคะวะโตอะระหะโตสัมมาสัมพุทธัสสะพุทธังธัมมังสังฆังนะมัสสามิอิโทปรังสักจังธัมโมโสทโพติ
សូមនមស្ការចំពោះគុណបរតនត្រ័យដោយសេចក្តីគោរពលំដាប់បន្តទៅនិងរតនាពធទេសនាមកសម្ដែងចែកជូនពុទ្ធបរិស័ទទាំងអស់
Homage to the blessed, the noble and perfectly enlightened, awakened Buddha. Homage to the teachings of Dhamma Vinaya that he entrusted us with, and homage to the Sangha that is practiced well.
ថ្វាយបង្គំចំពោះព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធដែលបានត្រាស់ដឹងឡើងក្នុងលោកសូមថ្វាយបង្គំចំពោះព្រះធម៌ដែលជាពន្លឺរបស់ពិភពលោកថ្វាយបង្គំដល់ព្រះអរិយសង្ឃដែលជាសង្ឃសាវកដ៏ប្រសើរ
It's a great honor and a wonderful occasion that we are all together here this evening under the Bodhi tree in such close proximity of the place where the Buddha attained full awakening and transcended all the suffering and reached Nibbana, the extinguishment of defilements.
ជាឱកាសដ៏ប្រកបដោយមហានក្ខត្តរិទ្ធដែលយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាបានមកប្រជុំនៅក្នុងទីនេះក្រោមម្លប់ពោធិព្រឹក្សជាមណ្ឌលជាទីកន្លែងព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធបានទ្រង់ត្រាស់ដឹងឡើងក្នុងលោកកុំចាត់បង់នៅអវិជ្ជានៅក្នុងពិភពលោកឲ្យខ្ចាត់ខ្ចាយទៅ
And I feel particularly happy and well supported and well received by Mrs. Wangmo and her team, and also especially the Cambodian Sangha, which during the 2-3 days after I arrived has been especially friendly and welcoming to myself, and I appreciate that very much. I think it speaks of a spirit of samakhi, unity or harmony, concord, which is so difficult to find in the world, and we can start in this place coming together not only from Cambodia, Thailand, India, and all the other countries, including little country far away, Germany, down here, and take that spirit of concord and harmony, that spirit of Dhamma with us.
ខ្ញុំបកករណាអាត្មាភាពពិតជាមានសេចក្តីសប្បាយរីករាយដែលញាតិញោមពុទ្ធបរិស័ទបានទទួលយ៉ាងរាក់ទាក់ជាពិសេសក៏ថ្លែងអំណរគុណដល់ដុកទ័រវ៉ាងម៉ូក្រុមការងារនៃការរៀបចំសូត្រពិធីវិត្រៃបិដកហើយជាពិសេសនោះគឺកម្ពុជាដែលជាម្ចាស់ ជាប្រធាននៅក្នុងការរៀបចំពិធីស្រ័យបិណ្ឌអន្តរជាតិនៅដែនដីពុទ្ធគយានេះថ្មីត្បិតតែលោកនិមន្តមកពីប្រទេសអាល្លឺម៉ង់ឬក៏ញាតិញោមពុទ្ធបរិស័ទអញ្ជើញមកពីប្រទេសតាមបណ្ដាលរដ្ឋនានាក៏ដោយតែបានមកជួបប្រជុំគ្នានៅក្នុងទីនេះ
I would also like to ask permission by all the Mahatheras that are kindly attending, even though I'm a rather junior monk, and it is maybe not the most direct connection to the Tipitaka in the sense that I personally have never studied Pali, but the Pali language is very dear to me, and particularly what we're doing today, for example, reciting the Vinaya or reciting the Dhamma as in previous years, is something that is so meaningful. And like all of you, we accumulate or gather more and more of the understanding of the language of the Buddha. And I must say, I was always a bit lazy to really learn Pali, but I take every chance to make sense of it as much as I can. So I'm very appreciative of this opportunity.
ខ្ញុំកណ្ណាអាត្មាភាពសូមខន្តីអធិស្ឋានពីសំណាក់ព្រះមហាថេរានុថេរៈគ្រប់ព្រះអង្គដែលមានភាសាច្រើនជាងលោកហើយខ្ញុំកណ្ណាអាត្មានេះក៏ជាអ្នកមិនបានសិក្សាអីជ្រៅជ្រះច្រើនដែរជាពិសេសគឺតាក់ទងទៅនឹងភាសាបាលីប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលបានស្វាធ្យាយតាំងពីពេលព្រឹករហូតមកដល់ល្ងាចនេះគឺគម្ពីរព្រះវិន័យបិដកដែលកណ្ណាគុណចាស់ញាតិញោមជាពិសេសដឹកនាំដោយព្រះសង្ឃខ្មែរយើងបានស្វាធ្យាយហើយនោះគឺមានអត្ថន័យជ្រាលជ្រៅប្រកបដោយខ្លឹមសារដ៏អស្ចារ្យដែលជាមេរៀនរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធជាពុទ្ធបញ្ញត្តិ
So one of the things that I can feel very much being in India or in Thailand, and I'm sure I would feel the same in any of the other countries or in Cambodia, is the connection to the kind-heartedness that comes from practicing Dhamma, and not only from the philosophy as the theory, what the Buddha taught, but from the heart, from the feeling of relating to other human beings as human beings in the same way that we know ourselves, we know other human beings. We're subject to old age, sickness, and death. We're brothers and sisters in that predicament that we are struggling to find happiness in life. So this is very beautiful to see the Dhamma coming from the heart, trying to make all of us feel more peaceful and at ease with the difficult situation that we have in life. All of us, whether we're in Asia or whether in Europe, America. As I mentioned yesterday, I think the world is not in a good shape, and it needs a lot of the heart energy of people like you and me to help cure the defilements and the dark sides of people's character.
មិនថាយើងមកពីទីណាក៏ដោយជាជនជាតិខ្មែរជនជាតិថៃឬមកពីអឺរ៉ុបមកពីអាមេរិកកាំងយើងទាំងអស់គ្នាសុទ្ធតែត្រូវការប្រធរហើយអ្វីដែលពិសេសនោះគឺយើងមានប្រធរនៅក្នុងចិត្តនៅក្នុងក្រអៅបេះដូងរបស់យើងដូច្នេះយើងបដិបត្តិប្រធរស្ថិតនៅក្នុងខ្លួនយើងគ្រប់កាលគ្រប់ពេលវេលាទាំងអស់មានតែប្រធរទេទើបអាចរំដោះយើងចេញចាស់អំពីសេចក្តីទុក្ខក្នុងសង្សារវដ្តបាន
And it is so fascinating to see how many details the Lord Buddha had already seen at the time of his life so long ago, but there's so many aspects that are so relevant these days that we can only benefit from it. One thing that is very well known all over the world and also very much in India these days is the practice of meditation, vipassana, for example, or any kind of meditation that we can do in order to balance ourselves and come back to the spirit of true Dhamma. That means an acceptance of the situation and gaining wisdom from it.
ព្រះធម៌របស់ព្រះដ៏មានប្រភពមានតម្លៃយ៉ាងជ្រាលជ្រៅហើយមានច្រើនប៉ុន្តែអ្វីដែលសំខាន់នោះគឺសមាធិវិបស្សនាដែលជាទីចាប់អារម្មណ៍ របស់ជានានុជនយ៉ាងច្រើនទូទាំងពិភពលោក
So when we do meditation, it doesn't always mean that we're sitting still. It can also mean that we're walking or even moving around in our daily life, as we know from the Satipatthana Sutta. Like even mundane things like needing to go to the restroom, the Buddha included in his practice of being aware, because there's almost everywhere that we can learn something from. The dukkha that is apparent in so many little situations, we need to find it and see it and then approach it with wisdom and then get over the difficulties.
ដោយញាតិញោមសាធុសប្បុរសបានដឹងហើយការចម្រើនសមាធិនេះមិនចាំបាច់ទាល់តែអង្គុយបិទភ្នែកនៅមួយកន្លែងទេសូម្បីតែយើងធ្វើការក្នុងជីវិតប្រចាំថ្ងៃយើងដើរទៅនេះទៅនោះនេះក៏ជាការចម្រើននៅសមាធិបានដែរដោយដែលព្រះដ៏មានប្រភាកបានទ្រង់សម្ដែងនៅក្នុងសតិប្បដ្ឋានសូត្រនេះគឺជាវិធីដែលយើងអាចយកមកបដិបត្តិចម្រើននៅសមាធិនៅក្នុងកិច្ចការងារប្រចាំថ្ងៃរបស់យើង
And when we come to a sacred place, a place that is sacred or holy to our own hearts and feelings and means something to us, has so much relevance for ourselves, we approach it with much mindfulness, awareness and respect. And this is something I feel is also an offering of the old cultures of Buddhism in Asia, in every country, respectful ways of dealing with each other. From the way we greet each other, from the way we move our bodies, from the way we talk with each other, all the way to our actions. This is a beautiful offering, and I can sense this particularly here and in the Maha Bodhi Vihara, where we can see so many different expressions of respect and giving honor or homage to that which should be honored and homaged.
ខ្ញុំបកណាអាត្មាភាពអង្កេតឃើញថានៅក្នុងមណ្ឌលពោធិព្រឹកនេះគឺញាតិញោមពុទ្ធបរិស័ទទាំងអស់មានសេចក្តីគោរពបដិសន្ធារៈគារវតាចំពោះគ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកទៅតាមបែបបទនៃប្រពៃណីដ៏យូរលង់មកហើយតាមបណ្ដាប្រទេសនានាដែលនេះបង្ហាញចេញអំពីគុណធម៌មួយអំពីផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់យើងដែលប្រកបទៅដោយសេចក្តីគោរពមិនត្រឹមតែការគោរពចំពោះគ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកនោះទេប៉ុន្តែការគោរពចំពោះទីកន្លែងជាពិសេសនៅក្រោមម្លប់ពោធិព្រឹកជាមណ្ឌលត្រាស់ដឹងនៃព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធនេះឯង
And this is something I believe in modern life sometimes gets lost, that people respect each other and have good manners in the way we interact with each other. Sometimes there's so much business that we don't see the other person as a human being anymore and override their desires and their rights even. So I feel this expression of a careful respect and a careful defiance even, where we submit ourselves thinking others may be actually more clever, more intelligent or more suitable for certain situations. This defiance and this humbleness is something really important, and I see that very beautifully expressed in this place under the Bodhi tree here.
ការគោរពគ្នានេះពិតជាមានសារៈសំខាន់យ៉ាងក្រៃលែងហើយសពថ្ងៃហ្នឹងការគោរពតាមបែបប្រពៃណីនីមួយៗហ្នឹងស្ទើរតែបាត់បង់ក៏សឹងតែថាបានពីព្រោះមនុស្សលែងឲ្យតម្លៃគ្នាលែងគោរពគ្នាហើយការរីកចម្រើននៃសម្ភារៈនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកនេះដូចជាការដែលជាប់រវល់មមាញឹកដោយកតបកិច្ចការបំពេញកិច្ចការងារប្រចាំថ្ងៃក៏មនុស្សតែងតែកាត់បន្ថយឬក៏ចាប់ផ្ដើមបាត់បង់នៅការគោរពដល់គ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកនេះក៏ជាហេតុមួយដែលយើងត្រូវគិតគូរពិចារណាឡើងវិញពីព្រោះណាពុព្វបរោះនៃប្រទេសនីមួយៗតែងមានការគោរពទៅតាមបែបប្រពៃណីរៀងខ្លួនដែល ជារឿងដ៏ល្អប្រសើរសម្រាប់មនុស្សក្នុងការបដិបត្តិក្នុងកិច្ចវត្តប្រចាំថ្ងៃ
And other than many people these days think about religion, we do this with very good reasons. We have a very clear path. We're not blindly paying respects. We're not worshipping or asking for anything. We're just expressing our inner feeling of respect, of thinking in higher terms when we meet a place or a person that has got much Dhamma. So the idea that we don't need to have these rituals and all the ceremonies of the sasana, I think if one comes here, you can see how far it is from what we experience right now. We have a lot of nourishment, a lot of like good feelings coming up through this beautiful, respectful way to each other. And if we can only do that much, then I believe the world will be a better place. We can be respectful and honoring each other and respecting that which is sacred.
ការគោរពគ្នានេះធ្វើឲ្យមនុស្សកាន់តែខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់មានតម្លៃមិនមែនធ្វើឲ្យមនុស្សទន់ទាបនោះទេដូចជាការដែលយើងគោរពបូជាចំពោះគុណរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធក៏មិនមែនក្នុងន័យនៃការសុំបន់ស្រន់បួនសួងអ្វីមួយអំពីព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធនោះដែរតែនេះបង្ហាញអំពីភក្តីភាពប្រសិនបើមនុស្សយើងគ្រប់គ្នាអាចធ្វើរឿងនេះបានបន្តនៅការគោរពដល់គ្នានឹងគ្នានោះពិភពលោកទាំងមូលនឹងកាន់តែស្រស់ស្អាតឡើង
And even if we meet people that have no idea about the Buddha's teachings, for example, when I go back to my home country and I meet my former teachers from university or friends, I find it so fascinating how quickly people resonate with the meaning of the things that we do, with the Dhamma, with the teachings of the Lord Buddha, the underlying reasons why we do things, and just the idea that we're developing wisdom in our actions. It really comes across directly to so many people when we talk with others and explain what we're doing. We do things beautifully, humbly, and then if somebody asks us, why are you doing this? We are not short of any answers because the Dhamma of the Buddha is so full of good answers for all these difficult questions that people face.
ពេលដែលអាត្មាភាពត្រឡប់ទៅស្រុកវិញគឺស្រុកអាល្លឺម៉ង់នោះគឺតែងតែអង្កេតរៀនសូត្រអំពីស្ថានភាពនៃប្រទេសរបស់ខ្លួនថាតើណាពួកគាត់មានការយល់ដឹងនៅប្រធរដល់ជំរៅណាណាដូច្នេះហើយការសិក្សារបស់អាត្មាភាពមិនដែលចប់ទេគឺថាតែងតែអង្កេតពិនិត្យមើលបន្ទាប់អំពីការទទួលបាននៅប្រធររបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធហើយក៏បានបន្តផ្សព្វផ្សាយទៅកាន់ណាប្រទេសរបស់ខ្លួនហើយប្រធររបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធនេះគឺថាទោះបីជាសិក្សាណាយ៉ាងណាក៏មិនចេះចប់មិនចេះពេញបរិបូរណ៍ឡើយគឺមានតែមានជំរឿទៅជាដរាប
And especially now we are actually reciting the teachings of the Buddha in the Pali language, like the original teachings as they have been transmitted to us over centuries. We're right there with the meaning of the Buddha's teachings, and we may not understand every word, but we can make sense of it and apply it. And we are cultivating this understanding and keeping the original teachings right present. And particularly when we recite the Pali language, it builds a bridge almost to the Buddha himself, because there's so many incidents that the Buddha talked about, or situations in the life of the disciples of the Buddha, whether it's monks, novices, nuns, or lay people. There's always a human touch to it, and there's always a situation in which the teaching was taught. People that wouldn't believe the Buddha and had wrong ideas about what happens after death, for example, there were plenty. And it's really very fun almost to go through the arguments or the discussions that the Buddha had in this area, walking through the towns of Rajagir or Gaya and explaining to people what the truth is about life and how it actually manifests.
យើងបានមកសូត្រនៅបត្រៃបិដកជាភាសាបាលីជាពុទ្ធវចនៈដើមទោះបីជាយើងបានយល់ខ្លះមិនយល់ខ្លះក៏ដោយប៉ុន្តែនេះគឺជាការបណ្ដុះនៅឧបនិស្ស័យនៅក្នុងព្រះធម៌និងព្រះវិន័យរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធគម្ពីរវិន័យបិដកនេះមានជម្រៅហើយការកកើតឡើងនៃគម្ពីរវិន័យបិដកនេះគឺដោយសារតែមានរឿងរ៉ាវជាច្រើនបានកើតឡើងនៅប្រទេសឥណ្ឌានៅពេលដែលព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធបានត្រាស់ដឹងឡើងក្នុងលោកហើយបានទ្រង់ស្ថាបនានៅសហគមន៍សង្ឃនឹងក៏កើតមាននៅរឿងរ៉ាវជាច្រើនគ្រប់ទីកន្លែងដូចជានៅក្រុងរាជក្រឹសឬនៅតាមបណ្ដាទីនានានៃដែនដីពុទ្ធគយាក៏ដោយគឺសុទ្ធតែមានរឿងរ៉ាវដោយសារប្រជាជនខ្លះក៏មានការជឿព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនាអ្នកខ្លះក៏មិនបានជឿនៅការបង្រៀនរបស់ព្រះអង្គឡើយហេតុដូច្នេះទើបរឿងរ៉ាវជាច្រើនបានកើតមានឡើងដូចមានរៀបរាប់នៅក្នុងគម្ពីរព្រះវិន័យបិដក
So when we approach the Buddha's teaching through the scriptures, many times people think that's dry and it's just theory. But when we really read the scriptures and practice accordingly, it's not dry, it's full of life, and there's a lot of inspiration that comes from this.
ពេលដែលយើងសិក្សាព្រះធម៌របស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធទៅយើងនឹងកាន់តែរីកចម្រើននៅក្នុងព្រះធម៌ជាពិសេសគឺបញ្ញានឹងកាន់តែចម្រើនមានឡើងក្នុងសន្តានចិត្តរបស់យើង
And every now and again we might also feel just not thinking about anything and just letting things be and be quiet and take the time off from any contemplation or activity of the mind. And then we settle into what the Buddha recommended to practice meditation and calm down and let our thoughts settle and just be with life as it is, like the breathing going in and out, the prana, the life energy or the life air going out of our nostrils or through the whole body. All of us are familiar with the teachings about meditation, and we need time to be with ourselves and let all the good teachings settle in ourselves as well.
យើងត្រូវតែទម្លាក់ចោលនៅរាល់បញ្ហាទាំងអស់ចេញអំពីសន្តានចិត្តរបស់យើងកុំបៀមទុកនៅសេចក្តីព្រួយនៅក្នុងសន្តានចិត្តជាពិសេសយើងបានមកដល់ទីកន្លែងនេះហើយគឺត្រូវតែព្យាយាមបំពេញនៅបុណ្យកុសលជាពិសេសគឺការអភិវឌ្ឍបណ្ដុះនៅគុណធម៌ធ្វើយ៉ាងណាឲ្យចិត្តរបស់យើងបានស្ងប់ប្រកបទៅដោយសមាធិ
And when we have studied the Buddha's teachings before or have heard it or have contemplated it, picharana, and then we can easily come back to these teachings when we're quiet and we can see the world in a different way. So this is the interplay between activity and the need of a response with panya, with wisdom, and the quietness and peace that everybody wishes.
នៅពេលដែលយើងមានចិត្តស្ងប់មានសមាធិមានបញ្ញាហើយគឺយើងអាចដោះស្រាយបានគ្រប់រឿងរ៉ាវទាំងអស់ដែលយើងប្រឈមនៅក្នុងពិភពលោកសពថ្ងៃនេះ
So when we practice meditation, many times we're thrown back on ourselves, but actually with the Dhamma in our hearts and all the things that we have contemplated and learned before, it comes back to us in the time we need it. So this is a trust in the truth and a trust in the teachings of the Buddha that can stay with all of us throughout many, many periods of our life. But we need to keep it awake and we need to make a conscious effort. Otherwise, our attention goes to less profound things, goes to the sensual realm, the kama guna, the things that are enticing, addictive. We need to go back to ourselves in so many areas and come back to a sense of resting with the situation and not doing anything more, just simply being still and settling.
យើងត្រូវតែបណ្ដុះនៅសទ្ធាជ្រះថ្លានៅក្នុងគុណរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធហើយអ្វីដែលសំខាន់ទៀតនោះគឺត្រូវយកចិត្តទុកដាក់ជាមួយខ្លួនឯងឲ្យបានច្រើនត្រូវតែខ្វល់ខ្វាយពីការបណ្ដុះផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់ខ្លួនឯងឲ្យបានច្រើននោះទៅណាព្រះធម៌និងវិន័យទៅអាចជួយយើងបានប្រសិនបើយើងមិនយកចិត្តទុកដាក់បដិបត្តិអប់រំខ្លួនយើងទេបញ្ហានឹងកាន់តែកើតមានឡើងសម្រាប់ខ្លួនយើង
And sometimes we want to be still and want to calm down, but we cannot because we've done so many unwholesome, unnecessary things, and each action that we have has an impact on our feeling, on our way of relating to the present moment. We might carry long stories about the past with us, or we might talk with ourselves about the future, build plans, and not be settling down in the present. So this is a very difficult thing in an active modern life. And one thing we can do is really honor time for ourselves, where we don't do anything extra, but simply enjoy being quiet. And then if we do formal meditation, trying to watch the breath or focus on parts of the body or the four elements or do contemplation with a quiet mind, then it becomes very nourishing and we're having a kind of buffer between the activity of stress and hectic activities in daily life and then the idea of now I'm meditating, approaching the profound teachings of the Buddha, the Four Noble Truths and the Trilakkhana, the seeing of anicca, dukkha, anatta.
ពេលខ្លះយើងចង់ឲ្យចិត្តយើងស្ងប់ប៉ុន្តែចិត្តរបស់យើងមិនស្ងប់ដោយដែលយើងចង់បានឡើយដូច្នេះត្រូវតែព្យាយាមរក្សាសតិស្មារតីរបស់យើងឲ្យបានល្អត្រូវចម្រើនរឿយៗនៅក្នុងសន្តានចិត្តរបស់យើងណាជាពិសេសគឺតាក់ទងទៅនឹងអានាបានសតិយ៉ាងហោចណាស់ក៏យើងត្រូវបដិបត្តិរលឹកដឹងតាមទាន់នៅដង្ហើមចេញដង្ហើមចូលក្នុងជីវិតប្រចាំថ្ងៃរបស់យើងទើបធ្វើឲ្យចិត្តរបស់យើងមិនរវើរវាយ
I find this very important that we have skillful means to support our meditation and not just the idea I need to stop completely from running at a full speed, then to stop completely is very difficult. So if we have skillful means in bridging between our life of duties and stress with the quiet and peaceful time, I believe then we actually do feel much more peaceful and are much more able to live a wholesome life. So this is very difficult. We might have the idea that only meditation, only quiet time is the pinnacle, the highest thing of the Buddha's teachings. But I believe it's the whole of the Eightfold Path with all the skillful means and all the little gestures of practice, respect, or inclining ourselves to the Dhamma that will then come together in a peaceful, well-balanced mind.
សេចក្តីស្ងប់ស្ងាត់គឺជាគុណធម៌ដ៏កំពូលនៅក្នុងការទូន្មានព្រានប្រដៅរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធហើយក៏ជាធម៌មួយនៅក្នុងអរិយអដ្ឋង្គិកមៈដែលជាផ្លូវនាំទៅរកការត្រាស់ដឹងរួចរំដោះចាកទុក្ខផងដែរ
And we probably all know about the significance of dana and sila, generosity and the willingness to sacrifice for other people, and sila to have impeccable conduct in the wholesome and not violate the rights and the spheres and the interests of other people, but live harmoniously with dana and sila, supporting each other and being ethically impeccable, which is something that I believe many Buddhists are not aware of how much importance sila and dana actually has for the practice of meditation.
ប្រហែលជាញាតិញោមបានយល់ដឹងច្រើនហើយអំពីទានសិលនិងភាវនា ដែលជាគុណធម៌ដ៏សំខាន់នៅក្នុងព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនាការដែលយើងធ្វើទានគឺជាការជួយសង្គ្រោះដល់គ្នានឹងគ្នាជួយសង្គ្រោះដល់មនុស្សទូទៅដែលកំពុងអត់ឃ្លានរីឯការរក្សាសិលគឺជាការសង្រួមនៅកាយវាចានិងអប់រំបន្ទុំចិត្តរបស់យើងឲ្យមានរបៀបមានវិន័យរីឯសមាធិគឺជាគុណធម៌ចម្រើននៅក្នុងផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់យើងប្រកបទៅដោយសេចក្តីស្ងប់ប្រកបទៅដោយសតិ
And again, going back to the Buddha himself, it's so beautiful how the Buddha found skillful means in addressing people in different situations of life. And for example, he would teach people about the highest truths of the Four Noble Truths only if they were ready for it. For example, we have talk on dana, sila, the rewards of dana and sila, the heaven realms, and all the things that are common in so many religions, like the feeling of doing good things and getting a reward for them and being happy with that, being fully grateful for a situation. We can see that the Buddha so many times didn't directly talk about the Four Noble Truths, but he quoted what is known as the Anupuppikatha, where he gradually inclines a mind of somebody in a difficult situation to be able to accept this situation and then face the truths about suffering.
ណាដូចជាអរិយសច្ចៈទាំង4នៅក្នុងពុទ្ធសាសនាគឺជាធម៌ដ៏មានជម្រៅហើយជាអ្វីដែលព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធតែងតែសម្ដែងប្រោសដល់ប្រជាជនទាំងអស់គ្រាន់តែពេលខ្លះព្រះអង្គមិនបានសម្ដែងចំនោះទេតែព្រះអង្គប្រើជាវិធីសាស្ត្រនៅក្នុងការលើកទឹកចិត្តនៅក្នុងការដោះស្រាយនៅវិបត្តិផ្លូវចិត្តនានាហើយបានជួយទៅដល់មនុស្សជាតិយ៉ាងច្រើន
Yet at the same time, it doesn't mean that we have to wait with inclining our minds to the higher truths. They are always there, whether we realize them or not. The truths about impermanence, about suffering, and about non-self, they are always there. And I believe all of us have had insights when these things become really clear on certain levels. We think, yes, that makes sense. Yes, that's really true. Life is not sure. Yes, I will die at some point. But then we forget about them again, and we lose the inclination towards these difficult truths. But when they come, and we actually feel uplifted and joyful, and this is possible all the time. It's not just after doing 120,000 rituals or dedications or prostrations or things that we could count or so. It actually could happen that on the first occasion that somebody pays respects to Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, he or she realizes the truth. As we see in the suttas so many times, a small trigger can sometimes open up all the Dhamma that is already there.
ការពិចារណានៅត្រៃលក្ខធម៌ដូចជាការពិចារណាអំពីសេចក្តីពិតក្នុងជីវិតដែលយើងជួបប្រទះរៀងរាល់ថ្ងៃនេះគឺគ្មានអ្វីដតីអំពីភាពបន្ទាងការប្រែប្រួលសេចក្តីទុក្ខភាពលំបាកព្រមទាំងអ្វីដែលมันអាចស្ថិតទៅតាមបំណងដែលយើងចង់បាននេះគឺជាសច្ចធម៌មួយដ៏ខ្ពង់ខ្ពស់ដែលយើងគួរតែចម្រើន
I guess one can say we shouldn't practice it externally, but we should practice from the inside.
យើងគួរបប្រតិបត្តិនៅខាងក្នុងមិនមែនគ្រាន់តែតាមបបោមាត់ខាងក្រៅទេប្រធម៌ត្រូវតែបប្រតិបត្តិចេញមកអំពីសន្តានចិត្ត
At the same time, external conditions do help. So we need to choose external conditions that are helpful, that are supportive. Skillful means.
រឿងរ៉ាវខាងក្រៅក៏ជាចំណុចសំខាន់ដែរប៉ុន្តែយើងត្រូវតែពង្រឹងនៅផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់យើងឲ្យបានប្រកបទៅដោយកុសលធម៌
And for myself, whenever I feel too disturbed or too restless to meditate, I do chanting. I really like reciting the Buddha's teaching.
ពេលដែលចិត្តរបស់អាត្មាភាពរវើរវាយអាត្មាតែងតែសូត្រធម៌ដើម្បីកុំឲ្យចិត្តហ្នឹងចេះតែរវើរវាយ
it's wonderful, particularly if one practices a certain chant, a certain paritta, all through different situations of life. They become like a guiding light for oneself. It's like a friend. You can always take it along and it will teach you at some point when you need it.
ការសូត្រធម៌មានឥទ្ធិពលខ្លាំង មានឥទ្ធិពលខ្លាំងណាស់ញាតិញោមពុទ្ធបរិស័ទទាំងអស់មិនថាយើងស្ថិតនៅក្នុងស្ថានភាពយ៉ាងណាក៏ដោយក្នុងជីវិតបើញាតិញោមចាប់ផ្ដើមសូត្រធម៌សូត្រនៅព្រះបរិត្តគឺអាចជួយយើងបានច្រើនមែនទែន
So when we come together to do particularly this very beautiful whole Tipitaka chanting, it is something that we know it touches the hearts and it goes into the Dhamma as a friend being there ready for us when we need it. And we should not feel ashamed of simply repeating the words of the Buddha, because these words can open the door to our heart. And we have them ready through repeating them, through memorizing them and keeping them in mind. We are mindful of the Buddha's teachings and then they help to get over the difficulties of life.
ជាការប្រសើរណាស់ដែលយើងបានមកសូត្របត្រៃបិដកជាភាសាបាលីពីព្រោះការសូត្រស្វាធ្យាយនៅពុទ្ធវចនៈនេះទោះបីដដែលយ៉ាងណាក៏ដោយសូមញាតិញោមពុទ្ធបរិស័ទកុំធុញទ្រាន់កុំមានភាពអាម៉ាស់ដោយសារការសូត្រនេះនឹងបានជួយជាច្រើនសម្រាប់ការអភិវឌ្ឍរបស់យើងនៅក្នុងការបដិបត្តិនៅព្រះធម៌វិន័យរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធ
Just a few weeks ago, I was in England and there was a young group of students visiting the monastery. I believe many of you have similar situations that people from school come and they want to know something and they're worried about things and they actually would like to practice the religion or Buddhism, which is quite a modern thing in the Western world. So they're interested and then they tell you about their problems. And I would, as a monk, I would immediately have a dozen of answers which I could recommend. Some things like, if you cannot sit meditation, never mind, then walk Jankama, Jongkrom, yeah? Jongkrom. And you can do that. You can do walking meditation. Or like if you don't want to walk or it's too embarrassing to walk up and down in your garden or so, you think, what are my friends saying about me? Then maybe do some chanting. Chant the Metta Sutta, for example. But then, talking to the students, they don't know a thing. They have never memorized the Metta Sutta. They have never introduced themselves to walking Jongkrom. They don't have the foundation yet. And then sometimes I sigh, okay, maybe I should recommend these young folks, maybe do some sports and do some music, find some time where you're with yourself at least. Or go on a walk by yourselves. No need to take your telephone along. Just be with yourself, be in nature, find time for yourself.
ថ្ងៃមួយនៅប្រទេសអង់គ្លេសហ្នឹងមានសិស្សសាលាមកចូលរៀននៅវត្តហើយពួកគាត់បានសួរនាំយ៉ាងច្រើនតាក់ទងនឹងវិធីចម្រើនសមាធិព្រោះគាត់មិនអាចអង្គុយបានយូរអង្គុយទៅចិត្តចេះតែរវើរវាយអញ្ចឹង អាត្មាភាពក៏បានលើកទឹកចិត្តឲ្យគាត់បដូរអេរិយាបថពីការអង្គុយនឹងទៅជាដើរចង្ក្រមភាវនាអញ្ចឹងញាតិញោមក៏អាចធ្វើបានបើយើងអង្គុយសមាធិយូរមិនកើតទេយើងបដូរអេរិយាបថយើងអាចដើរចង្ក្រមអញ្ចឹងទៅឬក៏សូត្រធម៌ក៏បានដែរនៅពេលដែលចិត្តរបស់យើងរវើរវាយមិនស្ងប់យើងអាចបែរទៅជាការសូត្រធម៌វិញដើម្បីជួយឲ្យផ្លូវចិត្តរបស់យើងបានស្ងប់
And I apologize for giving a personal example. Even my dear mother, when she looks at the news these days and she's alone at home, she gets nightmares and she cannot sleep because of all the dukkha in the world and it's right in front of her in the television. And being alone, she's facing this all the time. And so she asked me, what do I do if I have nightmares? And I was talking about metta bhavana. But I realized, of course, we have to work on this first. When one is trapped in a situation of dukkha, the Metta Sutta doesn't come out of the blue suddenly like a divine voice. It has to be in us in one way. We have to find some skillful way of using the Buddha Dhamma to come in that moment. And I did a translation of the Metta Sutta in German, which is not up to Pariyatti standards, but good enough for my mother. And I gave it to her. And I wish she would memorize it. Then maybe when she has a nightmare, she can then just inwardly, silently chant the Karaniya Metta Sutta, and I'm sure it will help her to sleep well.
ជាស្រ័យសុំនិយាយដើមញោមស្រីអាត្មាមួយគឺគាត់ច្រើនតែដេកសុបិនអាក្រក់នៅពេលយប់ណាព្រោះគាត់សុបិនអាក្រក់អញ្ចឹងទៅអាត្មាភាពក៏បានណែនាំញោមស្រីហ្នឹងឲ្យរៀនចម្រើនមេត្តាធម៌ព្រោះដែលញាតិញោមជាសពឃើញខ្មោចឃើញអីហ្នឹងណាគឺអាចរៀនចម្រើននៅមេត្តាធម៌ហើយអ្វីដែលលោកបានបង្រៀនទៅញោមហ្នឹងគឺករណីជាមេត្តាសូត្រដែលព្រះសង្ឃយើងតែងតែស្វាតជ្រាយជាការចម្រើនផ្សាយមេត្តាណាដល់សពសត្វទាំងអស់
Another good advice sometimes we can give is to remember the times when one was really happy, and not talking about a happiness of going to a party or at a rock concert or something like that. That's not real happiness, but like it's something where one feels really pleased and grateful for oneself. I remember as a child, sometimes in front of the Christmas tree, when everything is so beautiful, and it's the Christian festival of Metta, we can say. And then to remember these little precious moments and take them back and recollect them, have mindfulness of all the good things that have happened to oneself. This is also something I think we can recommend, even though other people may not know Buddhism and not know the Metta Sutta. We can say, please think of at least one or two things where you were truly happy and truly grateful with yourself.
តកតងទៅនឹងការចម្រើនមេត្តានេះបើសិនបើយើងមិនមែនជាអ្នកកាន់ពុទ្ធសាសនាទេក៏យើងអាចបង្អោនចិត្តនឹករលឹកទៅរករឿងណាដែលសប្បាយរឿងណាដែលជារឿងល្អកាលពីយើងនៅកុមារភាពក្តីដូចជាលោកកាលនៅក្មេងលោកធ្លាប់អង្គុយនៅមុខដើមគ្រីស្មាស់ហើយលោកអង្គុយញញឹមដោយចិត្តរីករាយអានេះក៏ធ្វើឲ្យចិត្តរបស់យើងហ្នឹងបែរមកទៅជាត្រជាក់បែរមកទៅជាសតុនបានដែរ
Then thinking back to us, all of us that are practicing the Buddha's teachings, we have so many good things that we can rely on and so many practices that we can use skillfully to come back to when we feel we are suffering. We call it in Pali, we have punya, a lot of merit, good wholesome actions, and we can recollect that. And punya is not only putting a banknote in a donation box, it is the whole feeling around supporting, sacrificing, doing what is wholesome, doing what is truly good and peaceful and respectful.
យើងគួររលឹកដល់បុណ្យកុសលដែលបានធ្វើនឹងជារឿយពីព្រោះមានតែបុណ្យកុសលទេទើបអាចជួយយើងបានជីវិតរបស់យើងដែលរីកចម្រើនទៅបានហ្នឹងគឺអាស្រ័យបុណ្យកុសលនឹងឯងដូច្នេះចូលពុទ្ធបរិស័ទទាំងអស់រលឹកឃើញបុណ្យដែលខ្លួនកំពុងធ្វើនឹងឲ្យបានរឿយឲ្យបានច្រើនដង
So sometimes, like particularly having been in the UK for the last Vasa, I feel so grateful for being back in Asia, where there's a foundation of understanding of the law of karma, of the law of the Dhamma of gratitude or respect. And I believe we are very privileged to have all these good practices that are small practices bit by bit, but they all lead to this gradual path that can make us face the Four Noble Truths and the bitter sides of life, old age and death. But if we have the small, beautiful gestures and practices, it can nourish us, and then we may be able to be peaceful when there's stress and there's suffering.
ត្រឡប់មកពីឆ្នាំទៅគឺកាលដែលអាត្មានៅប្រទេសអង់គ្លេសហ្នឹងគឺបានត្រឡប់មកវិញទៅមកកាន់បណ្ឌអាស៊ីជាពិសេសគឺនៅប្រទេសថៃប្រទេសជាដើមនេះគឺជាកន្លែងដែលមានប្រពៃណីដ៏ល្អតាក់ទងទៅនឹងពធតាក់ទងទៅនឹងការបដិបត្តិព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនារបស់ប្រជាជនទាំងនោះដូច្នេះធ្វើឲ្យចិត្ត របស់អាត្មាភាពតែងតោងជាប់ជាមួយនឹងប្រធមតែងពិចារណារឿយៗទៅក្នុងរឿងរ៉ាវនៃជីវិតទៅក្នុងអរិយសច្ចៈទាំង4ជាដើម
So again, I think it's not that we can count every single thing and say this is a 1 plus 1 more or so. We don't go into the practice with this materialistic attitude of collecting things, but we simply do them and do them with the right spirit, and then they support us. And to have many practices in this way can be a real help. And we can also communicate this to other people if we find a creative way of being friendly and respectful to others and make bridges and find ways of relaxing in a situation that is stressful, even though it may not have anything to do with religion. This is again the beauty of the Buddha Dhamma, is that the Buddha's teachings, they are just simply there as the truth about life. And no matter how we describe them or whether we point them out in particular, they're always there. They're always accessible from many different ways. So we can easily bridge and be creative to people that think otherwise. That's why Buddhism is such a beautiful, tolerant religion. We can easily find the common ground. And if we cannot talk about Mahasatipatthana, then maybe we talk about gratitude or something that our friends will understand directly.
លំអរបស់ព្រះធម៌មានច្រើនបែបច្រើនយ៉ាងតែមិនបាច់និយាយអ្វីដោយជ្រៅទេគឺសំបីតែការដែលយើងមាននៅភាពរាក់ទាក់រស់រាយស្រស់ស្រាយនិងមានការគោរពចំពោះគ្នាទៅវិញទៅមកនេះក៏ជារឿងដែលល្អហើយសម្រាប់ការបដិបត្តិនៅក្នុងធម៌វិន័យរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធហើយអ្វីដែលសំខាន់នោះគឺយើងត្រូវធ្វើចិត្តយ៉ាងណានៅក្នុងពិភពលោកដែលពោរពេញទៅដោយភាពមមាញឹក
And many times people in worldly society, they look at the teachings as a philosophy, they look at them as a theory, they look at them as, yes, this makes sense, that is already good, but actually then to take the teachings from the head, from the understanding to the heart, this is a different matter. And it's good that the teachings are logical and the Buddha is like a scientist and it's beautiful and it's accessible to modern people. But not every scientist that has heard about the Buddha's teachings will be immediately free from dukkha because he doesn't put in the work into it and he doesn't connect to the heart, doesn't practice it.
ព្រះពុទ្ធដូចជាអ្នកវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រដ៏ពូកែមួយរូប ដូច្នេះការដែលបានសិក្សានៅព្រះធម៌នេះអ្នកខ្លះអាចស្ដាប់យល់ទៅតាមការគិតប៉ុន្តែអ្នកខ្លះក៏បានចាប់យកព្រះធម៌ដោយការយល់នៅក្នុងសន្តានចិត្តមិនមែនគ្រប់គ្នាដែលបានទទួលនៅព្រះធម៌ហើយសិតតែបានយល់បានបដិបត្តិបានពណ៌ត្រូវនោះទេតួយ៉ាងអ្នកវិទ្យាសាស្ត្រមួយចំនួនអាចធ្លាប់ឮធម៌ប៉ុន្តែក៏មិនបានយល់ព្រះធម៌ដែរពីព្រោះគេមិនបានដាក់ព្រះធម៌នៅក្នុងក្រអៅបេះដូងឡើយគេដាក់ព្រះធម៌ត្រឹមតែក្នុងខួរក្បាលប៉ុណ្ណោះ
I can share another story. One time, as a monk already, I returned to my old university, and unexpectedly, I met my old professor of physics, and he was surprised to see me in the robes, as a Buddhist monk. But he's a very intelligent person. He immediately got my life story and that I left, and after studying and so forth, and then he said, "Can I ask you?" Just 5 minutes of questions. What are you doing? What does the Buddha teach? And he had a sequence of very quick, intelligent questions, one by one. Within 5 minutes, the whole of the Buddha Dhamma was accessible to him, but he's still not free from suffering. He was intelligent to hear it, but he hasn't yet realized it.
ពេលដែលអាត្មាទៅត្រឡប់ទៅស្រុកវិញជួបជាមួយគ្រូដើមគឺសាស្ត្រាចារ្យដែលធ្លាប់រៀនជាមួយហើយគ្រូក៏បានសួរថាតើលោកម្ចាស់មានពេលប្រហែលជា5នាទីទេចង់សាកសួរអំពីព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនាហើយអាត្មាភាពក៏បានពន្យល់នៅក្នុងរយៈពេល5នាទីហ្នឹងឃើញថាលោកសាស្ត្រាចារ្យគាត់ចាប់បានច្រើនមែនទែនប៉ុន្តែទោះបីជាគាត់បានយល់ក៏ពិតមែនមិនមានន័យថាគាត់បានរួចចាកអំពីទុក្ខនោះដែរ
So what I derive from this is also that we don't need to be ashamed of the Buddha's teachings. They are approved of by the wise. And like the Buddha taught something that all the wise people will immediately understand and say, this is correct. Whether they can practice it and to be fully liberated from defilements, from suffering, is another question. But the Dhamma itself is so accessible and so correct that we don't need to be ashamed of being Buddhists and having these beautiful teachings there in all the aspects. The highest one with the brain, where you think about it, and the ones that we actually practice from the heart.
ញាតិញោមខ្មាស់គេទេដែលយើងបដិបត្តិធម៌យើងធ្លាប់ខ្មាស់គេទេដែលយើងកាន់ពុទ្ធសាសនាណាចូលគុំគិតអវិជ្ជមាននៅក្នុងន័យនេះជាការសំណាងបំផុតទៅវិញទេដែលយើងបានមកកាន់វិថីនៃព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនាដែលយើងបានคล้ายជាពុទ្ធសាសនិកញាតិញោមមិនគួរខ្មាស់ទេគេទេញាតិញោមគួរតែមានមោទនភាពដែលមានឧបនិស្ស័យបានទទួលយកនៅព្រះធម៌របស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធជាធម៌អាចបណ្ដុះនៅគុណតម្លៃព្រមទាំងបញ្ញាដល់យើងផងដែរ
I just heard the beautiful word panya. It's the Buddha's teaching is about panya. So it's something that is so universal that we can actually really easily answer if somebody asks us, what does the Buddha teach? The Buddha taught wisdom. And this is something I noticed when I'm back in my home country. People accept wisdom. If we talk about religion, they get skeptical. Are you bowing to golden statues? And I need to explain so much. But if I talk about wisdom, everybody understands. Yes, yes, oh yes.
ធម៌របស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធមិនមែនសាសនាទេញាតិញោមណាគឺតួបញ្ញាតួនៃការយល់ដឹងនៅក្នុងសច្ចធម៌អញ្ចឹងនៅលោកខាងលិចហ្នឹងបើសិនជាយើងនិយាយពីសាសនាគឺគេនឹងសួរថាយើងថ្វាយបង្គំពុទ្ធបដិមាពណ៌មាសហ្នឹងមែនទេណាអញ្ចឹងគ្មានអ្វីទេគឺព្រះពុទ្ធសាសនាគឺស្ថិតនៅលើតួបញ្ញានេះឯង
And when we do the recitation now, maybe in one way, yes, we're just simply reading it, but it leaves an impact on us, and we can gather more of the bits and pieces that we understand and then use them. And many times we come across some parts of the chanting that we have already seen in other places. And this is one of the Tipitaka chantings I was able to attend a while ago. I was surprised in one of the volumes of the Khuddaka Nikaya, which I never looked at because it's not such a famous text. There were so many passages that I knew from other areas. It felt like meeting an old friend. And I believe like a lot of the enthusiasm that we have about Pali and is how beautiful it is composed, how the Buddha actually even things like the Vinaya, there's so much Dhamma in there. It's not just about the rules. There's so much stories about the life of the disciples, the problems of the disciples, and then there is also so much sermons, so much discourses in there. For example, in the Mahavagga, which we will recite soon, there is like the whole of the first period of the Buddha's life after the awakening under the Bodhi tree is right in there. It seems like when the compilers of the canon were compiling the Vinaya Pitaka, they thought this is what the monks will preserve for sure. So we put in a lot of the teachings in there as well. So it is very inspiring. Even the more dry side of the teachings, the rules and the prohibitions and things like that, we might think that's not relevant, but there is a lot of it that we can actually relate to, and it's linked to the teachings.
ដោយតែយើងបានមកស្វាធ្យាយបត្រៃបិដកនេះគឺជាកិច្ចការងារដែលប្រកបដោយបុណ្យកុសលយ៉ាងក្រៃលែងការស្វាធ្យាយនៅព្រះវិន័យបិដកមិនមែនដែលការស្វាធ្យាយនេះមិនមែនត្រឹមតែអ្វីដែលតាក់ទងទៅនឹងជាបទបញ្ញត្តិឬក៏សិក្ខាបទប៉ុណ្ណោះទេប៉ុន្តែមានធម៌ជាច្រើនដែលប្រកបដោយជំរឿខ្លឹមសារដ៏បរិបូរណ៍ដូចជា មហាវគ្គដែលយើងនឹងសូត្រនៅក្នុងគម្ពីរវិន័យបិដកនេះមានកត់ត្រានៅរឿងរ៉ាវនិងខ្លឹមសារជាច្រើនតាក់ទងទៅនឹងព្រះធម៌ហើយនៅពេលដែលអាត្មាភាពបានសិក្សានៅក្នុងបត្រៃបិដកទៅដូចជានៅក្នុងគម្ពីរខុទ្ទនិកាយជាដើមគឺមានការភ្ញាក់ផ្អើលយ៉ាងខ្លាំងហាក់ដូចជាបានអាននៅសារមួយចំនួនដែលរំលឹកដល់អនុស្សាវរីយ៍ពីចាស់ពីក្មេងៗ
And again, I would like to express my appreciation for this project of reciting the whole Tipitaka because it is so rich and it is exactly that we need all the aspects of the Dhamma and combine them and link them, bring them to life, build bridges and use all the 84,000 Dhammakandas to teach us. And it's such a rich and balanced collection of the Buddha's wisdom that we can feel really privileged to be able to see it in the whole picture and not just in the particulars.
ខ្ញុំកណាអាត្មាភាពសូមអរគុណនិងអរគុណយ៉ាងក្រៃលែងជាពិសេសក្នុងការរៀបចំឡើងនៅពិធីសូត្របត្រៃបិដកនេះគឺជាការដ៏ប្រសើរយ៉ាងក្រៃលែងដែលបានជួយជំរុញទៅដល់ការបដិបត្តិនៅធម៌វិន័យរបស់ព្រះសម្មាសម្ពុទ្ធជាអម្ចាស់
We have a little bit more time left. If there are questions, and I would like to invite the Sangha and the lay people to address any questions. If I can answer, I'll try.
ឥឡូវដល់វគ្គសំណួរចម្លើយបើសិនបើលោកម្ចាស់ឬញាតិញោមណាមានចម្ងល់អីអាចសាកសួរហើយអាត្មាភាពនឹងព្យាយាមឆ្លើយ So anyone has a question you can raise your hand មានសំណួរអីលើកដៃញាតិញោមណាបាទ Okay មានមីក្រូមួយទៀតណា
First of all, I would like to say thank you to Bhante that gave opportunity to ask a question. And thank you for your sharing the Dhamma, special Dhamma for evening. And I really happy. In this way, practice in the Dhamma Vinaya. In this way, in too young. So I have a lot of questions, but related to your sharing Dhamma talk this evening. I have a question which you give me some answer. Because as you said that special point that I note, you share that Dhamma Vinaya or the Buddha, we are so lucky one that we have heard and practice and put a practice in Dhamma. And the Buddha teaching, it is just not give respect to the sculpture Buddha, but we need to put it and use the basic one from Madana, Sila, Bhavana, and reach and rely aware about the Panya. When I first hear, I really surprised that many Sangha from in every country come together, practice and recite Tipitaka chanting, but one that I have noted, why we have the same Vinay, the same Tipitaka and the sound Pali are the same, it's not different much. I have a question that why, although how to wear your robe in different country, we have the same Vinay, Dhamma Vinaya, but why you choose the way that you're wearing your robe like this, and another country choose their robe, different style of wearing Buddha. So it depends on their Vanya or anything else. So.
Okay, I can repeat the question so everybody can hear it more easily. The way I understand is, okay, we have the same Dhamma and Vinaya, yet we all wear different robes in one way or the other. Why is that the case, for example? I believe there's very many variations in the Vinaya. There's local variations that the Buddha allowed to change things in certain areas, and in other areas it's very clear it has to be 100% the way that it is laid down in the Vinaya. And if not respected, then that would be an offense, for example. But there are things about the robes, for example, that are not so clearly defined, maybe partly forgotten in over time, or it's an interpretation where the Buddha was not so precise because it maybe wasn't necessary at the time of the Buddha when there was direct contact. So we don't have 100% precise description, and even though many of the rules in the Vinaya are very clear, there are also some where we don't know exactly how to interpret them. And then there's the idea that there can be local variations in interpreting the rules. So not everything is 100% defined. You will find this maybe frustrating every now and again in the study of the Vinaya, that besides being so precise in some areas, in other areas there are gray areas. So we need to have like a tradition and a teaching in our local Sangha that helps us make sense of it. And this is perfectly all right, as long as no Sangha claims only we are right, everybody else is wrong. If we have the tolerance and see, yes, this is one of the areas where we need to use our own judgment, and we're not deviating too far from the principal rules, then I think it's still very unified. For example, we chanted today the Parachika rules, and they're very clear, and the examples given are very, very clear. Whereas like there's many smaller rules that we will find, actually we don't exactly know. For example, the measurement of the robes. It depends on how we understand the hand span of the Sugata of the Lord Buddha, how big it was, because it was measured in a way that is not by centimeters or inch. So we have to transfer these. There's one good, as you probably know, there's one good criteria, the 4 great standards. Whenever we decide something in a gray area, for example, are monks or nuns allowed to drive a car, for example, we decide in comparing the situation of driving a car with the situations that the Buddha explained as allowable or as unallowable. So we then find a parallel towards the things in our day and age, which we can then come to a conclusion and say, in our Sangha, in this context, for example, and maybe in Thailand, we hold it like this. And but it's not a universal law. In that sense, we can, in sense of being universally binding, the Vinaya can only be like universally binding when it's the exactly well-defined parts that everybody can actually directly derive from the Pali.
Next question.
Pundami Ajahn, thank you very much for your very inspiring Dhamma talk. Apart from recitation, we have to practice it.
Yes.
And my question is very simple. Which make you to inspire to ordain higher hoods?
I was trying to avoid this personal, and also felt already a bit embarrassed when Mrs. Wang Mo read out my my little introduction. So you can say I was fortunate. I was in Thailand as a boy for 2 years. I didn't speak the language, but I was fascinated by the country and the friendliness of the people. Even though I didn't understand why they were so friendly, I felt like they're different than in my home country. And ever since I then came back to my home country, to Germany, I inquired. I took all the information I could get as a high school student to find out what's behind the Buddhist society. And I started to study a bit, read a bit, and then I had time in my studies to start practicing meditation. And that was a great trigger for thinking, if I can find a way to work on myself in order to be more peaceful and more friendly, then that's a great blessing for myself and for also many other people. When having been born as a Christian, we have many times the ethos or the wish to do everything for our neighbors, for other people. And I was brought up like this, like that you do things for charity and for other people. And at one point I realized, oh, the Buddha says, you have to practice for yourself as well. You have to have the qualities. You have to realize these qualities. For example, you cannot claim to know how world peace will work if you don't know how you yourself are peaceful. And such thoughts made much sense to me when I was studying it. And then I thought, okay, for meditation, I would like to have a long time of meditation in a monastery. And as I was introduced to Thailand as a boy, I thought, let's go to Thailand. If I had been in Cambodia, maybe I would have left to Cambodia or to Myanmar. But for some comic reason, I had the connection to Thailand. So I went to Thailand and then decided I would be silly if I went back to my old life. This makes much more sense. So, and there's a lot of work to do. It's many times, I can see this also in Western Buddhist centers. Many times people get inspired very quickly by the teachings about awakening and enlightenment, but the hard work to really build up what we call barami, build up the skillful means, build up the techniques, build up the little memories, what I just mentioned, to be able to come back to the teachings, they don't have yet. And then after very, very high inspiration, then many times people crash. And I was lucky that I met the monastic life, where there's a gradual path, where there's a lot of things where you can actually practice on many levels, some on the level of simple vinaya things, like doing things correctly, being mindful about, for example, not being separated from your robes at dawn. These things require mindfulness as a practice. It's almost like a little rule to test you. Can you do this little thing? And so one can build up bit by bit more strength of facing the bigger questions. So I was fortunate to be able to meet monastic life, and I thought I would be silly to go back. So one more, yes.
Namaskar, Bante. Bante, ich will fragen nach your Erfahrung. Was is your practice to be free from dukkha in Alltag every day?
Okay. What is the practice? What is my practice for being free from dukkha in everyday life? I can only say sometimes I can recollect the Buddha's teachings, and it gives me a lot of relief from dukkha. I'm not free from dukkha. I'm practicing. But I use the things like, for example, when I feel less anger coming, or fear, I recite inwardly the Karanyametta Sutta, for example. Or I go back to the breath for calming myself down. It's not that this is like freedom from dukkha, finished. It's just little bits where you can see, okay, if I relate to my problems in life differently, I can release the tension and release the stress. And then maybe there are sometimes very happy moments which are supported by very good external conditions. For example, when we come to the sacred Bodhi tree, we forget about dukkha because we're so blissful contemplating the Buddha's awakening, and we have got a lot of faith at that moment. So I would say to keep up the faith is also a practice of myself, like to remind myself and come back to the idea that this is really something beautiful and worthwhile doing, and how ugly it is when I get angry, for example, in daily life. Then maybe I need somebody else to smile at me, and then I think, it would be better if I also smile. So there's little bits and pieces that we can learn to apply the teachings and become less prone to dukkha in daily life. But it's not so easy just to say, okay, I'm free now. It's not so easy. We have to build it up bit by small little techniques and tricks. And also then we sometimes have a break and sit and meditate formally and don't think about anything and let everything settle, and then we re-experience the same problem after having had some quiet time, then we can maybe make much more of a positive impact on the problem. Yep.
Thank you, Pati.
Thank you. Venerable, when we know that the basic, one of the basic teachings of the Buddha is anitya dukkha. But when we go through the Tripitakas, we find that there are references of gods like devas. So, how can we relate with the devas? If there are devas, then when we say there is no God, no creator, it is like contradicting. How do you see this?
Very briefly, I understand the Buddha's teachings that beings are reborn in different levels of refinement. For example, on this level of refinement of practice, if we keep sila, we will be reborn as a human being. If we are outstandingly gracious and generous and have many deva-like qualities, then maybe we get reborn in a heavenly realm. And if we're able to practice meditation to the level of jhanas, then we may be reborn in the Brahma world, because it's a very, very refined mind state. So for me, this question is intertwined with the level of realization on the level of practice. And if one is very coarse in one's character and in one's actions and commits a lot of breaches of sila, then maybe one gets a lesser human life. So for me, the devas are just representations of a different form of life. And I think the Buddha was very clear that he didn't want to specify whether any being has been creating the world or not. We don't see this as a necessary question, because the Buddha said we would argue endlessly about it. And even about certain areas, like these days when you talk about rebirth or psychic powers or so, then it's also very difficult for somebody who doesn't have these qualities to really understand how it works. My trust is that if I keep refining myself and practicing the qualities that are needed for that refinement, then maybe at one point I will understand what the Deva world and Brahma world is like. Right now I'm on a level of a human being. I believe there are other planes, but my consciousness, my awareness is just tuned in with this realm. So I try to make sense of it, and in that way, the rest is like a little bit beyond my experience. But I believe that the Buddha said it's part of the transition through samsara of every single being to be in taking on a different form after one life has expired. And And a little footnote in, as you know, then even the Devas, even the Brahmas, in the understanding of the Buddha's teachings, they still are subject to anicca, to impermanence, and thus there is dukkha for them. There's also suffering, maybe very refined suffering, but there is still suffering there. So the teachings also apply on the very highest level. So the Buddha actually included the Devas and the Brahmas in the Four Noble Truths because these are universal.
Bandami Ajan.
8 minutes.
Bandami Ajan. Ajan, you have given such a beautiful teaching here under the Bodhi tree. So thank you so much. And during your teachings, you also gave a beautiful example of your mother. You said you have translated some Dhamma and you gave it to your mother and your mother started practicing. But now, what about me? My mother does not read or write. And also my parents, my other brothers and sisters also don't live at home. So my mother is alone and she also cannot handle any technology like YouTube and other things, mobile phone. So how can really I help my mother so she can really practice Dhamma?
It's very difficult sometimes. If you yourself live a self-reliant life, sometimes it's very painful to see that one is far away from one's mother. But and very important is that you always practice dedicating your punya to your mother. And this is like a practice that many people do for departed parents. But actually, if you spread metta already now and you keep the heartfelt connection, that's the least thing you can do. And I believe that through having this disposition, this heartfelt connection, that you will find a way to then do what is needed at the moment, because you are respecting your mother and you're giving already on the mental level to your mother. And then when there's only a slight opportunity to do something on the physical level, for example, you could maybe call her every day or something like that, then, or like make sure the neighbors are in touch, or say something very nice that stays with her for a while, then these little opportunities that you will have, I think they will increase. We start with ourselves. Many monks are in the same situations. We leave our parents, and they get old and we cannot actually look after them. And so what we practice, we take it from the physical level to the mental level. We try to at least all the time practice metta and dedicate punya. And then I believe that at the situation when we are most needed, then there will be a chance to say or do exactly the right things, and it will have a lot of meaning for your mother and for you. It's not that we can do much in some situations, but if we are inclined to have the whole feeling of wanting to support, I believe there will be a way.
Thank you so much, Ajahn.
Difficult situation.
John, I have a question here. From a scientific point of view, and I'm not a scientist, but from a scientific point of view, how would you explain the power of blessings?
Good question. I probably don't really know how would I explain it from a scientific point of view, because maybe there could be some kind of energy waves or so, I don't know. And I believe that science would be very quick to refute that and say that's all not proven or so, or like yeah. But I would go to the personal feeling of the impact of one's own awareness of one's own mind, and say we can feel it. This is also a reality, and therefore it must be there. It's like it's not that we can measure it, but we can feel it, and we trust that the way we are true to ourselves, then it's not just an illusion, because we're practicing to be aware, mindful, and we're not trying to take any shortcuts or make a dream or so, but like we're based in our actual experience and we can feel it. So that would be replacing the scientific explanation rather to a psychological, if you want to say it like that, because psychologically it's real, what we feel, and we can also see it in the reactions of other people, how we relate to people, how we relate to conflicts, and that it has an effect. And I would then say, okay, science may be blocked by various like coarse methods of finding out what this actually is, but it's a reality. And I'm not sure how much we can actually convince the scientists, but we can be fully convinced by ourselves that it has an effect.
Thank you, Bante, for the wonderful Dhamma talk. My question is, I'm a laywoman, and in daily life, we have to take do a lot of decision making, take decisions. Now, you were speaking about panya, wisdom. Now, my question is, uh, you know, while while these critical decision making, and not just critical, even very subtle or very regular decision making in daily life, how do we, or how do I, understand, differentiate if something that I'm doing now is I'm doing it from a place of a repeated pattern or paya? How do we differentiate?
To recognize repeated patterns, it has to do a lot with like being honest to oneself, and this is where the whole approach of meditation as a realistic way of seeing what one feels, where one gets agitated, where one gets disappointed, how one deals with one's emotional life, that comes to help then. If one follows simple patterns, it's maybe not so conducive to finding good solutions, but it at least if you look at the patterns, you may be able to realize why and how they work. And it's more difficult if you cannot yet see a pattern, if it's just merely a shortcut reaction, something emotional or so. This would be really difficult. But if you can already recognize certain patterns or avoidance strategies or so, then you can skillfully think, what can I do not to follow them? And in the situation where it comes up, you might realize too late what's the case. But maybe the next time, or maybe we have to repeat the mistake a few times. And then we will also be able to forgive ourselves easier if we know ourselves well and say, okay, there you are again, I did this again, I always do this, I'm so stupid, and you smile about yourself and you reset yourself easier. So patterns, like one way it's actually even helpful. The very emotional, direct responses, they're sometimes really dangerous when people get like upset or say, express themselves so completely out of balance. This is more difficult than the patterns. The patterns you can systematically, maybe with the power of introspection and honesty towards self, you can recognize them. I think this is like we have to stop because we have another wonderful opportunity to listen to Dhamma tonight, and I'd like to thank everybody for your attention, and also Ms. Wang Mo and the whole team for giving all of us the opportunity.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
On behalf of the International Tipitaka Chanting Council and all of us who are so fortunate to hear the precious teachings of the Dhamma from a living example of a great one who is practicing in daily life and expounding on how can we bring the Dhamma into our heart to open up into this precious understanding of knowing oneself. So we are very blessed, Venerable Ajahn Kewali, to have had you here on the opening day and the first Dhamma talk. And I know that tomorrow you will be making your way on another program, but we are so grateful to hear these teachings directly and to be reminded of our own experience, that that is the real test of understanding, or a living, the living material, the raw material that we have to work with to get deeper in trying to understand what the Buddha left us with. So on behalf of us, we have a small gift from all of us.
I try my best. Nhiệt giống của bà Krautនៅមួយអង្គទៀតបានអត់ទាន់ប្រសើរធម៌ហ្នឹងនៅមួយអង្គទៀតណា so we still have another Dhamma speaker. Yeah, that's why we're not chanting to include yet. So please just pay respect to Most Venerable Jan Kevali as he depart from the seat of Dhamma. And we will again receive another Venerable Dhamma speaker, Venerable Rahula, to be seated. Venerable Rahula Bodhi. We would like to invite Most Venerable Rahula Bodhi to come to the seat and under the sacred Bodhi tree right